Hey everybody, welcome back. So we're going to take a helicopter maple seed, is it? I don't know. I don't know my seeds. And we're going to do a photo shoot with it. So let me show you how to set up real quick. So let's switch the cams here. Go to the webcam, micro bench webcam. And as you can see, I got the R6 Mark II up there. I'm using the Canon RF 100 2.8. And you can see the little helicopter thing up there. It's being held into place with some putty, an alligator clip, and a size 00 pen. And right behind that, I have a Flashpoint Zoom Lion speed light, and that power is at 1/128th. I want to get like a white background. I don't know, kind of like an X-ray kind of, if you know what I'm saying. So let me show you real quick here. Let's change camera views. We'll go to the cam link. I, I want it to look something like that, but it's going to be a white background and you're going to be able to see like the veins. That's what I'm aiming for. So you might be thinking, if we go back to the webcam shot here, I got all the lights on. Is this going to be too bright to use with flash? Is the outside is the flash and the ambient light going to take control? So what I'm going to show you is what we do in photography. It's called no flash, no picture. So I'm going to shut off my flash and I'm going to take a picture with all the lights still on, and we're going to see if my settings is going to let any light in, ambient light. And we don't want to, what we're trying to accomplish is when I snap that picture, total blackness. So let's go back to the cam link here. And let me roll over there real quick. I'm going to shoot a picture and then I'm going to throw it up on the screen. And you're going to see this after I shoot the picture. You're going to see that after I shoot the picture. But then after hit play, you should see a blank screen. And if we have total blackness, that means we have control of the room lights and I don't have to shut nothing off and we can roll. So let's give it a shot. Alrighty, over here, let's turn the flash off real quick. We're going to fire off a shot. There that is. And now let's hit play. And we have nothing. There it is. Total blackness. So that means the LED that I have, let's get this back in here. That means the LEDs that I have around there so I can see what's going on, that you can't see out. It's like, it's up in the air. And then I got that lamp on and then I have two overhead lights on, so it's not going to hurt. So let's set up the shot here. Let's go to our other thing. So I already went to the website. I am shooting at a 0.65 times magnification, I believe. Right around there. I plugged the numbers in and it told me that I need to do 0.950 for my step increment. So I already got that labeled in there. I have it saved. I'm going to save it one more time just in case. And so now what we want to do, as you guys know from my other videos, we want to get what we want in focus and what we don't want in focus. So for that, we need to go and do backwards and forwards. So let's go backwards. And there, everything's blurry. And we want to go forward just a little bit till we see the first thing that starts to come in focus. So there we have some of the outer edge in focus. So let's back up a little bit. Right there, that's where I want the shot to start. I want the shot to start right there. So we're going to make that our start point. And then we're going to move forward. And as you can see, as I'm moving forward, parts of the seed are coming in focus and leaving focus. So it looks like, I don't think I have anything sharp in that picture right there. Let's go backwards a little bit. Doesn't look like there's nothing there that's really in focus other than the pen. And we're going to remove that in post. Okay, we got focus there. I want to say right, little minor step. I'm going to say right there. That's where we're going to stop. We're going to call that our end point. So the rail is going to travel 15.2 millimeters total. It's going to take 16 shots, really 17, because it's going to fire off a shot. And it's going to take 84 seconds. Don't worry, you don't have to set through all of them. I'm going to speed it up. It should go awfully fast, but before I start, we need to calibrate it, take up the backlash. And before I click run, I normally fire off a shot, but I forgot to turn my flash on. So let me scroll back over here and turn my flash back on. All right, flash is on. Let's take a test shot real quick. Take one more because I didn't see a flash fire. Okay, the flash fire. Now we can hit run. And while it's going, I'll just speed this up and we'll get to the end and I'll show you how I bring everything into Helicon Focus, how I stack it, and then we'll take the stacks over to Photoshop and Lightroom and we'll do a little editing there and we'll see the final product, all right? So stick with me. And we are done. So the macro rail is going to move back to the starting position and we are done. Now I'm just going to bring everything on into a Helicon Focus. We'll do some focus stacking with method A, B, and C, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then we'll bring it on over to Lightroom and Photoshop, do our edits, call it a day, and you guys can see the final product. So let's get on with that part now. Okay, everybody, welcome back. And we have, as you can see on the screen, we have the camera SD card up, and then where I'm going to stick the photos. So what I normally do, and you guys do whatever you want, this is just my workflow. I'll put the card in and I'll highlight the raw files that I want to move. Oh, you know what? Let's see here. Highlight the raw files I want to move. And then I'll move them over to my Helo seed. Drop them in there. And they didn't drop in there. It drives me nuts sometimes. Let's just move it back up here. There we go. Now they're populated. So now they're there. And then what I normally will do is I'll come up over here and I'll eject my SD card. I just don't like keeping it in there. So let's go to Helicon Focus. Screen, here we go. Bring that up. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag all those photos into Helicon and they're going to populate right here. So let's go over here and drag them up. We'll put them there, and as you can see, it's almost done populating. All right, there's that. Kind of ugly, huh? So what we need to do now is I'm going to render this out in method A, and then method B and method C, just to see which one, looks better. If you watch any of my other videos, you know that I render out all three methods, and then I try to see if there's anyone that looks better or not. Usually method B always looks better to me. But if you combine A and B after it's done, it makes like a hybrid B, and that's even better looking sometimes. And method C, I usually use if I have a colored background, because for some odd reason, method C renders a background really nice. I mean, nicer than what it renders in A and B. So I'll bring like B and C over to Photoshop, and then I'll, blend it a little bit, make it look good. But here we go. And we're not going to stay and watch this whole thing. Method A is usually really quick though, so let's just render that out real fast. And you'll see down here, it'll populate a little window. And then we'll start aligning each photo. So right here on this side, this is the photo that it's currently looking at. And you can tell which one it's currently looking at by whatever one's highlighted. So that's that one. Now this one is that one. And what it's doing, it's looking at each one, trying to find out which is the best part of it. And then it's coming over here to this side and it's putting it together. Method A is always fast. It hammers through it pretty fast. Method B takes a while, especially depending on how many pictures you have, especially if you're trying to do raw as opposed to TIFF, because it builds like a depth map. And then after the depth map's done, then it starts to put everything together. So yeah. So we're almost done with A, everybody. As you can see down here, it's almost done. So let's just hang on here and then we'll do method. Okay, so A's done. This is what it looks like under A. Not that bad, not that bad. The edging right here is, I don't really care for that. I was hoping that it'd stand out a little bit more. I can't lower my flash down any further because I don't want to. That's just my personal opinion. So let's do method B real quick. And here's where I'll speed you guys up so you don't have to set through this. So I'm going to do method B and method C, and then we're done with it. And then I'll turn you back on so you can see, and we'll be back here shortly. Okay, so it is all done. We got all three methods. This one's C, and you can't really, if you look at the background, you can't really see that much, especially with YouTube with compression, but C's background looks good. And I'm going to assume A and B's background is also the same because there's no colors, just the flash behind it. And there's B. Yeah, so it really doesn't matter. I'm going to click on A. So really, now what I'm going to do is, it's really hard for me to tell, especially when it's broken up into two screens like this, which one actually looks the best. So what I normally going to do is I'll come up here and I will save all of the exports. And I usually pick a new subfolder, which is method ABC, and it's going to go in the same source folder. So what you'll see is after I hit OK, if I come back to the screen, right here, you'll see a photo populate, and it's going to be method ABC, and those three outputs will be there. So let me click OK on this. And there it is. It's already populated. And I know when it's there because the other thing right here will have three things imported successfully. And then what I do from there is I'll open up each three of those into Lightroom. And I'll look at them there and I'll see which one I like the best. And then that's the one I'll choose to edit. So everything's imported. So let's head over to Lightroom real quick. So let me flip on over to a different screen here and I'll be right with you. Okay, so here we are in Lightroom and I have the three pictures here, and I'm going to open up, I'm going to look at the loop, the big version. And this is, I think, method A, that's method B, and this one's method C. And I don't like either one of them. Method A is kind of soft, first of all. Let's not even bring up the ugliness that's going on down here, and really soft around this edge. I don't really care for that. Here's method B, which usually works the best for me, but that's when I'm doing like weird things. I think it should have been great on this one. The edges are kind of good. It's not as fuzzy down here as method A. If you look at, let me go back to A, see that? But B has this ugliness right here, and I don't really care for that. And then if we go to C, C's just soft all around. C just, I don't like it. I mean, if I had to pick, I'd probably pick C. But yeah, I don't like any of these three. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board and I'm going to retake these. And I think what I'm going to do on them is actually, we're still going to use the backlight. So I get that like backwards light like that, but I'm also going to introduce maybe another flash at a 45-degree angle in front of it. So I can get some light on here, because it's just hiding way too much stuff. I mean, even if there's no way I can bring that out. It's just too dark. Okay, so I'm back. I retook those photos. Like I said, I just didn't really care how the seed looked. It was too black. I should have used two lights and I didn't. I was hoping I could get away with one. I should have known better. So what I ended up doing, I took the light that I had in the back of it to create the white background and to create the shine through. I ended up moving that further back, and I introduced a light at a 45-degree angle. The light I used for the 45-degree angle front light was a Flashpoint Evolve 200 at 1/256th of the power. I had to use the lowest power I could because it was just this bright, and I backed it as far away as I could. And this is what I ended up with. So let's take a look at these three shots, and I'll show you what I'm talking about between the different method A, B, and C. So this is method A that we're looking at right now, right here. And pay attention to right about here. You see this thing right here, that's, I don't know what that is, part of the seed. But right here is the shadow of it. But it looks like it's a little blurry right there. And we got some not so much focused around here. I think maybe if I would have introduced, I don't want to see a third light, but maybe a reflector, a bounce reflector on the bottom to put some light on this. I think maybe that might have come out pretty good. But anyway, let's switch over to method B. And you see that, how it darkened it up a little bit? That's the actual shadow. The edges look a little bit better. But when we go to C, it's just awful. That it's soft. It's soft and it's harsh. And like I said, C is usually really good for a background. If you're having like color background, like a busy background, usually method C is the way to go, just to have the background. But it's a no-brainer. So like, let's zoom in to 100% on, this is C at 100%. And you can see it's, I mean, like, we're pixel peeping, and, but you can still tell, in a normal picture. It's not that good looking. So if we compare that with B right there, look at B. B is a lot better. I think so anyway. And you just got that little bit of uckiness right here, as opposed to if you get A in there. Look at that. That's just bad. Bad all around. I think A also has some issues down here a little bit. With softness right there, where we go to B and we go down there. And, B has it too, but not as bad as A. And let's see what C looks like. Yeah, C is horrible. It's got some ghosting, some banding, which you do when you photo stacking and have it. You just got to clone it out. But yeah, C is off the table, A is off the table, and I'm going to be editing photo B. And I don't really know what I'm going to do. I know I'm going to make one black and white, maybe do some kind of silver effects as well, maybe introduce some color. But stick around to the end and I'll show you the final product. And like, subscribe, comment. And if you want to see how I edited these, like step by step, let me know and I'll make another video. But for now, thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed the photos of this helicopter seed. Talk to you later.